The silent signal. Emerges empire. In the quiet of the night, when most people slept, a lone signal began to echo across the vast emptiness of space. On Earth, in a small observatory on the edge of a sleepy town, Dr. Alan Mason sat alone before his computer. The room was dimly lit by the soft glow of monitors and the gentle hum of machines. It was a calm night, but something in the silence was about to change forever. Dr. Mason had spent many nights studying the stars, hoping to uncover secrets hidden in the dark. He was used to the slow, steady rhythm of cosmic signals that came from distant galaxies. But this night, the screen blinked with a strange pattern. It was a signal that did not follow the usual steady beat. Instead, it pulsed like a quiet drum, a silent call that seemed both gentle and firm at the same time. He leaned in closer, his eyes fixed on the blinking lights. The pattern was too clear to be random. It had a rhythm that felt almost like a message. Dr. Mason recorded the signal, his heart beating faster with each passing second. He knew that this was not a natural occurrence. There was an order in the signal that hinted at purpose, as if someone, or something, was trying to speak. Across the world, in different observatories and laboratories, similar reports began to come in. Scientists confirmed that they were all seeing the same strange pulses from a faraway part of the universe. The news spread slowly at first, but soon the idea of a mysterious message from space began to grip the minds of many. People wondered what it could mean. Was it a call for help, a warning, or a simple greeting from a distant world? As more data was gathered, one thing became clear. The signal was not coming from any star or planet known to science. It was as if an empire, long hidden and unknown, was beginning to make its presence known. The message carried a weight of authority and purpose. It was silent yet powerful, a signal that whispered of great strength and hidden intent. The word empire began to circulate in discussions and late-night news broadcasts. The idea of an emerging empire in the dark void of space was both thrilling and frightening. In the days that followed, experts and leaders gathered in emergency meetings. They debated the meaning of the silent signal and the possibility of an unknown force emerging from the cosmos. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials worked side by side, trying to understand what they were facing. Dr. Mason, with his careful recordings, was called upon to explain what he had seen. He spoke in simple words that everyone could understand. He said, "We have received a call from beyond our world. It is not a random noise, but a message that carries a deep meaning. It tells us that something great is coming." The message was clear, though its meaning was still hidden behind layers of mystery. The signal pulsed steadily, as if it was counting down time. In small towns and busy cities alike, people began to look up at the night sky with a mix of wonder and fear. The stars that had always seemed so distant now felt closer, as if they were the door to a new era. The silent signal had stirred feelings in everyone, a hope for discovery and a fear of the unknown. As the world waited for more information, Dr. Mason continued to study the signal. He worked day and night, his eyes never leaving the data that slowly revealed hints of a grand design. The signal, he discovered, carried layers of information hidden in its rhythm. It spoke of an empire that was not built by force, but by the steady march of time and technology. This empire was not like any seen before. It was an empire that emerged silently, with no grand entrance or noisy arrival, yet it carried the promise of great power. Slowly, the message began to transform from a distant call into a clear warning. The empire was coming. It was not an empire of war, but one of order and strength, a force that would test the very limits of Earth's defenses. The quiet pulse of the signal reminded everyone that even in silence, there is meaning. It was a sign that the universe was not empty, but filled with unknown wonders and dangers. In that small observatory, as the night deepened, Dr. Mason felt a mix of excitement and dread. He realized that the message was a turning point, a moment when humanity had to face the reality of its small place in the cosmos. The silent signal was more than just a pattern on a screen. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one that would challenge every idea about strength and survival. The people of Earth were about to witness a slow but certain change. The emerging empire, signaled by that quiet pulse, promised to reshape the future. It was a call to be ready, a call to understand that even the softest voice in the dark can carry the weight of destiny. And so, under the endless night sky, with the stars watching silently, the world waited, holding its breath for the empire that would soon rise. Each beat of the silent signal served as a reminder. The universe had secrets yet to reveal, and humanity was now a part of a larger, mysterious story, gathering shadows. After the silent signal echoed into the night, whispers of its strange rhythm spread like wildfire. In laboratories and control rooms around the world, experts and officials gathered to study the mysterious pulse. The message from the dark void had stirred a mix of excitement and fear, and soon, shadows of doubt began to grow in every mind. In a high-security meeting room at the Global Space Research Center, scientists and military leaders assembled to share what they had learned. Among them was General Robert Caldwell, a veteran known for his steady resolve in times of crisis. As the team displayed graphs and charts on large screens, each pulse of the signal was shown as a series of simple beats, clear, precise, and haunting. The room fell silent with every detail revealed, and all eyes were fixed on the data. General Caldwell spoke in a measured tone. "This is not just noise. It is a message that carries weight. We must be ready for what may come." His words hung in the air, as heavy and mysterious as the signal itself. Outside the polished walls of the center, the world was slowly coming to terms with the news. In small towns and busy cities alike, ordinary people began to notice a shift in the atmosphere. At local cafes and in living rooms, conversations sparked about the unknown force lurking beyond the stars. Some talked of ancient prophecies, while others compared the signal to the first page of a long-forgotten legend. The news had cast a long, dark shadow over everyday life, a shadow that seemed to promise both danger and possibility. In a quiet suburb, Alina, a school teacher with a curious mind, found herself checking the news on her old laptop late into the night. The simple, steady beats of the signal replayed in her thoughts. While she was not a scientist, the story had captured her imagination. She imagined an empire hidden in the darkness of space, gathering strength in secret. Every time a news report flashed across her screen, her heart pounded with a mix of wonder and dread. How could such a silent call hold so much power? At the same time, deep in a remote research facility, Dr. Mason, who had first recorded the signal, continued his work with determination. Surrounded by stacks of data and glowing monitors, he began to piece together the puzzle. Each new bit of information hinted that the message was not random, but organized by a force beyond human understanding. Dr. Mason wrote detailed notes in a leather-bound journal, his simple, clear words describing what he saw. A silent empire stirs. The pulse is strong and deliberate. It speaks of a force that gathers quietly, like shadows at dusk. His findings soon reached other scientists, who confirmed that the signal carried patterns unlike any natural phenomenon known to Earth. Meanwhile, in the corridors of power, world leaders held emergency sessions to assess the growing situation. The mysterious pulse was now a subject of international debate. Some argued for caution, urging a careful study before taking any drastic measures. Others pushed for immediate action, fearing that waiting could leave Earth unprepared. Diplomatic channels buzzed with coded messages and urgent calls, as each nation tried to understand whether the silent signal was a call for help, a warning, or the first move of an unseen empire. Everywhere, the idea of an emerging force, the empire, took root in the collective mind of humanity. It was not a grand, noisy arrival. It was as subtle as a shadow growing at the edge of vision. The term gathering shadows came to symbolize both the physical presence of a hidden armada and the mental state of a world on alert. With each passing day, the shadows seemed to deepen. The night sky, once a canvas of peaceful stars, now appeared to hide secrets and intentions that no one could yet understand. In living rooms, classrooms, and government halls, the silent signal had transformed from a simple echo into a symbol of what might be coming. It brought with it a promise of change, a change that was as uncertain as it was inevitable. As the world waited with bated breath, the gathering shadows whispered of an empire that was slowly taking shape, a force that would soon challenge everything Earth knew about strength and survival. And as these dark forces began to assemble in the vastness of space, every person on Earth could not help but wonder, what did these shadows really hide, and how would they change our world forever? The watchful Earth. As the mysterious signal continued its steady pulse from deep space, the people of Earth gathered in a new kind of unity. Across the globe, from bustling cities to quiet villages, eyes turned upward. In every heart, there was a mix of fear and hope, a feeling that something great was about to happen, something that might change the world forever. In a secure command center high above the city, military officials and scientists worked side by side. General Caldwell, known for his calm leadership, stood before a large digital map of the Earth. The map showed glowing dots where observatories and satellites had picked up the unusual signal. His deep voice broke the silence. "We must be prepared, but let us not forget hope. Our people are watching and waiting." His words were simple, yet they resonated with everyone in the room. Not far away, in a quiet suburban home, a family sat together around an old television set. The father, Mr. Harris, explained to his curious children that the strange signal was not a threat, but a message from the far reaches of space. "It is as if the universe is trying to speak with us," he said in gentle tones. The children listened wide-eyed, their imaginations sparked by the idea of a distant empire gathering strength. Even though there was a hint of fear in the air, the promise of discovery filled the room with a quiet excitement. At a local community center, people gathered for an emergency town meeting. The small hall buzzed with whispered conversations. Mrs. Patel, the town's librarian, shared a simple thought. "We have always looked to the stars for answers, and now they may answer back." Her words gave the people comfort. They knew that while the signal was strange and uncertain, it also brought a sense of connection, a reminder that they were part of a larger story unfolding in the cosmos. Meanwhile, in a small observatory on the edge of a mountain range, Dr. Mason continued his careful work. Surrounded by old telescopes and modern screens, he recorded every change in the signal. His eyes, tired but determined, scanned the data that rolled on his computer screen. He noted even the smallest fluctuation, a brief pause in the beat, a slightly faster pulse, as if the universe was holding its breath. Every detail mattered to him, for each could be a clue to the true nature of the silent message. High above in an orbiting space station, astronaut Lena Ortiz floated in quiet wonder. As she looked out at the vast expanse of space, she saw the Earth below, a bright blue gem against the dark canvas of the universe. Lena felt a deep connection with everyone watching from below. "We are all in this together," she thought, her voice calm even as she recorded her feelings for future generations. Her words, transmitted back to Earth, reminded people that no matter where they were, they shared the same fate. On social media and in online forums, discussions bubbled up like small fires of curiosity. Ordinary citizens posted simple messages of hope and concern. "The sky is not just dark tonight," one post read. "It is full of promise." Another comment said, "Our ancestors looked at the stars with wonder. Now it is our turn to meet them." In these digital conversations, people found a sense of solidarity. They understood that their watchfulness was not born from fear alone, but from a deep-seated desire to learn and to connect. As night fell over every corner of the Earth, the world seemed to hold its breath. In one small town, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves outside a modest home. Inside, an elderly man named Mr. Lee sat by his window, his eyes fixed on the glittering night sky. He remembered the stories his grandfather told him about ancient times when people believed the stars were the eyes of gods watching over them. Tonight, he felt that those old tales were coming to life. His heart swelled with both a quiet dread and an unspoken hope that the legacy of those old stories might guide humanity through the uncertain times ahead. In government halls and research labs, every individual felt the weight of responsibility. The silent signal was not just a strange beat on a screen. It was a call to be vigilant, to prepare, and to stand together. People like General Caldwell and Dr. Mason worked tirelessly, often through long nights, driven by the simple truth that Earth must be ready for whatever was coming. Their efforts were a beacon of light in a time of uncertainty, showing that even in the face of the unknown, humanity could rise with resolve and unity. The watchful Earth was not a single person or a lone nation. It was everyone. It was the quiet families, the dedicated scientists, the brave soldiers, and even the wandering soul of an astronaut. Each one contributed to the collective watchfulness that now defined the world. With simple eyes and steady hearts, they observed the heavens, knowing that every pulse of the mysterious signal carried the promise of change. In that long, silent night, under a sky full of stars, Earth learned to be both cautious and hopeful. The message from space had united people in a way that transcended borders and differences. It was a shared moment, a pause in time where everyone, from the smallest village to the largest city, became part of the same cosmic story. And as the signal continued its steady beat, the watchful Earth remained alert, ready to face the future with determination and simple, unwavering hope. The final march. As days passed after the world first heard the silent call, the mysterious Armada began its slow, deliberate approach. From the depths of space, a vast fleet emerged like a long line of dark shadows against the stars. Its movement was steady, as if each ship was following a set rhythm. In every corner of Earth, people looked upward with a mix of fear and fascination, knowing that the final march had begun. At a high-level command center on a secure military base, General Caldwell and his team watched live feeds from satellites and ground telescopes. The screen showed a long, winding trail of spacecraft moving slowly toward Earth. General Caldwell's eyes were fixed on the images as he spoke in a calm, clear voice. "They are moving as one. Every unit in that fleet is in perfect step. We must be ready for any sign of change." His words carried a heavy truth. This was not a random journey, but a final, united march toward Earth's orbit. Back in a quiet observatory on a hilltop, Dr. Mason reviewed his latest recordings of the Armada. The gentle hum of his computer filled the room as he traced the path of the approaching fleet. Every detail on his screen showed a pattern. The ships were arranged in precise order, a sign of advanced planning and discipline. Dr. Mason noted in his journal, "The march is steady and full of purpose. It is as if they are on a mission to show their strength without a word." His simple words spoke of awe and caution, capturing the solemn beauty of the moment. In homes around the world, families gathered near televisions and computers. In a small living room, Mr. Harris and his children watched the news with wide eyes. The reporter's voice was soft but clear. "The final march of the Armada has begun. Experts say every move is planned, every ship in place. The world waits with bated breath." The children whispered questions and shared wide-eyed glances, as the once distant stars now felt dangerously close. At the same time, people in government halls and research labs worked around the clock. They pored over maps and data, trying to understand the true intent of this marching fleet. Was it a peaceful demonstration of power or a prelude to conflict? The uncertainty hung over every discussion like a dark cloud. In one lab, a young analyst named Sarah explained to her team, "The fleet's slow pace tells us they are not here to attack immediately. They are showing us what they have. We must be ready to respond if needed." Her simple words resonated with everyone, reminding them that the final march was not yet the end, but only the beginning of something greater. High above Earth, aboard an orbiting space station, astronaut Lena Ortiz floated near a large window, watching the approaching Armada with quiet determination. The vastness of space seemed to hold its breath as the fleet neared the edge of Earth's orbit. Linda recorded her thoughts in a small log. "I see the dark silhouettes of the ships, arranged like soldiers in formation. Their steady march is both beautiful and terrifying. We are all part of this unfolding story." Her voice, transmitted back to Earth, offered a reminder that even in space, every soul felt the weight of this historic moment. As the fleet moved closer, the tension on Earth grew. The simple beauty of the night sky was replaced by a sense of imminent change. News channels showed images of the Armada inching forward, each frame a reminder that nothing would ever be the same. People in every town and city paused to look up at the heavens. They whispered prayers, shared hopes, and sometimes even shed quiet tears. The final march was not just a military or scientific event. It was a moment that touched the hearts of all. In government meetings, leaders debated their next steps. Some called for peaceful communication, hoping that the Armada meant only to show its power. Others urged for strong defenses, believing that even a silent march could hide the threat of an attack. Every decision was made with care, using simple, clear language so that even those not versed in science or politics could understand. "Our strength lies in our unity," one leader said during an emergency broadcast. "We must stand together and be prepared for what comes next." His words, though simple, carried a deep promise of resilience. Throughout the final march, every observer sensed that this was a turning point in human history. The slow, deliberate movement of the fleet brought with it a deep silence, a silence filled with both hope and uncertainty. The Armada, though full of immense power, moved without the sound of conflict, as if it wished to remind Earth of its own strength and determination. As the ships drew closer to the protective boundary of Earth's orbit, every beat of the universe's pulse was felt. The final march had set the stage for a future that was both unknown and full of potential. It was a moment when humanity realized that sometimes strength is shown not in loud clashes or rapid movements, but in the quiet determination of a force moving steadily forward. And so, under the watchful eyes of the world, the final march continued, a slow, silent promise of what was to come, the unexpected turn. As the Armada inched closer to Earth's orbit, every eye on the planet was fixed on the dark silhouettes of the ships. The world braced itself for the next move of this powerful force. In command centers, on television screens, and even in quiet homes, anticipation mixed with fear. Then, just when the tension reached its peak, something unexpected happened. At the Global Space Command Center, General Caldwell and his team observed the fleet's steady progress. Suddenly, one of the lead ships flickered as if it were struggling with an unseen force. The smooth, ordered movement of the fleet was broken by a sharp, irregular pulse. Dr. Mason, monitoring the data in his lab, noticed a strange anomaly in the signal. His hands trembled slightly as he recorded the changes. "There is a glitch," he said in a calm but urgent tone. "The pattern has broken. It is as if the fleet is losing control." The unexpected turn sent ripples through the command center. Monitors showed that the ships were no longer moving in perfect formation. One by one, a few vessels began to drift from the tight line, their lights dimming and then flaring unpredictably. A wave of murmurs spread among the scientists and military officers. Some wondered if this was a sign of a hidden weakness in the enemy's design, while others feared it might be a planned distraction. In a nearby control room, young analyst Sarah stared at her screen in disbelief. "The ships are not holding their formation," she said softly. "It's like they have encountered something they did not expect." Her colleagues gathered around, their eyes scanning graphs and live feeds. The data showed that a burst of unknown energy, possibly a solar flare or a mysterious cosmic force, had struck the lead ship. This surge of energy sent shockwaves through the fleet's systems, causing malfunctions that no one had predicted. Back on Earth, the public's reaction was mixed. In homes, people who had once watched the advancing fleet with trepidation now exchanged looks of cautious relief. At a local cafe, a group of friends discussed the event in hushed tones. "Maybe this is our chance," One said, his voice tinged with hope, while another worried, or it could be the start of something even worse. The unexpected turn had shifted the mood from one of dread to a tentative optimism, yet everyone understood that the mystery was far from solved. General Caldwell, with years of experience in crisis, addressed his team in simple, clear language. This is not over yet. The fleet's power was supposed to be unmatched, but now we see cracks in their armor. We must be alert. This may be a sign of weakness, or it might be a trap. His words resonated with the room, as each person felt the weight of the moment. Even as relief spread that Earth was not immediately under threat, a sense of caution remained. Dr. Mason worked tirelessly to analyze the failing signals. He reviewed every detail on his screens, comparing the new data with earlier recordings. His findings pointed to a design flaw that no one had anticipated, a hidden vulnerability in the fleet's energy system. The Armada's strength was built on a delicate balance, he explained to a group of scientists during an emergency briefing. It appears that even a small burst of unexpected energy can disrupt their formation and cause major system failures. His words, simple and clear, helped everyone understand that the enemy's greatest power might also be its biggest weakness. In the midst of this chaos, the unexpected turn wrought both fear and opportunity. The once mighty Armada, known for its precise order and silent might, was now visibly trembling under the strain of an unknown force. The ships that had marched in unison now showed signs of disarray, a clear indication that their control system had been compromised. The enemy's plan, so carefully orchestrated, was unraveling before the eyes of the world. Outside the command centers and labs, the general public experienced a mix of celebration and anxiety. Social media lit up with messages of disbelief and hope. The Empire's strength is failing. Some posts raved, while others urged caution. Do not let our guard down. This may only be a setback. In town halls and community centers, people discussed what the turn of events could mean for their future. While many welcomed the possibility that Earth might have found a chance to fight back, they also knew that danger still lurked in the unknown depths of space. As the fleet's formations began to break apart, the silent signal that had once promised an unstoppable force now carried an air of vulnerability. The unexpected turn had opened a door to new questions. What had caused this failure? Was it a natural cosmic event, or had the enemy miscalculated its own strength? And most importantly, what would the next move be? In the quiet moments that followed the disruption, the world held its breath. The Empire's Armada, so full of power and precision, now revealed a hidden flaw that no one had expected. It was a turning point, a moment when the silent march of an unstoppable force was halted by an unforeseen twist of fate. And as Earth watched, both the brave and the cautious knew that the battle for survival had only just begun. The crumbling force. In the wake of the unexpected turn, the mighty Armada began to show its true weakness. What was once a powerful, united force now started to crumble. The ships, once so organized and precise, faltered in their journey toward Earth's orbit. In every control room and observatory, people watched with a mix of awe and disbelief as the Empire's strength slowly unraveled. At the Global Command Center, General Caldwell stood before a large digital map that tracked the fleet's every move. His expression was grave as he noted the rapid deterioration of the enemy's formation. "The system is breaking down," he said in a firm, measured tone. "Our data shows that the disruption in their energy pulse is spreading. One ship's failure is causing a ripple effect through the entire Armada." His simple words made it clear to everyone that the once imposing force was now vulnerable. Dr. Mason, still busy in his observatory, compared the current recordings to earlier, more organized signals. He scribbled notes in his journal, his handwriting steady, but his mind racing with new questions. "Their power was built on perfection," he wrote. "Even a small flaw has brought it to its knees. Each malfunction creates more chaos, and the enemy can no longer maintain its control." His analysis confirmed that the Armada's design, once seen as flawless, had a hidden weakness that was now its undoing. Back in a small town, Mr. Harris and his family gathered around the television. The news anchor, using calm and simple language, explained the situation. What we saw earlier as a grand display of power is now falling apart. The enemy's fleet is crumbling, and our orbit remains safe. The relief in the room was palpable, but so was the uncertainty. People knew that while the Armada was breaking, the unknown motives of its creators still left many questions unanswered. In a high-tech lab, young analyst Sarah and her team pored over fresh data. Their screens showed clusters of ships breaking formation and drifting away from the main fleet. It is like watching a giant puzzle fall apart, Sarah commented. Her team verified the results and realized that the crumbling was not just random. It was a systematic collapse caused by the failure of their energy system. The precision of the enemy had become its weakness. Aboard the orbiting space station, astronaut Lena Ortiz looked out at the dark silhouettes of the failing ships. Floating silently in space, she recorded a message back to Earth. I see the force we feared is no longer a single unified front. The cracks in their system are growing larger with each passing moment. It is as if a hidden chain has been broken, and now the entire Armada is falling into disarray. Her calm words echoed through the station, offering a hopeful reminder to everyone watching from below. As the Armada continued to crumble, confusion spread among the enemy's ranks. The once indomitable ships now drifted in space with flickering lights and erratic movements. Many of the vessels lost their coordination, and some even appeared to be completely out of control. The silent signal that had once sent a message of strength now served as a haunting reminder of the Empire's collapse. In newsrooms and online forums, citizens expressed both relief and curiosity. If such a mighty force can fall apart so quickly, one comment read, "What does that say about our own strength?" The question resonated deeply with many, stirring a new sense of hope and determination. At the command center, General Caldwell organized his team for the next step. "We have a rare opportunity," he declared. "The enemy's greatest power is now its weakness. We must study this collapse carefully and learn from it. Let this be a lesson that even the mightiest can fall, and that our unity is our true strength." His words, delivered in plain and confident language, boosted the morale of everyone in the room. In homes and classrooms across Earth, people began to see the crumbling force as a turning point. The enemy, once thought invincible, was now a reminder that no power, no matter how advanced, could crush the spirit of humanity when united. The breakdown of the Armada was more than just a technical failure. It was a symbol of hope. It showed that flaws and failures could bring an end to seemingly unbeatable forces. Dr. Mason continued his research late into the night, determined to understand every detail of the collapse. His findings not only revealed the vulnerability in the enemy's design, but also sparked ideas on how Earth could improve its own defenses and technology. In their weakness, he noted quietly, "We see the path to our own strength." His simple, yet profound observation echoed the growing sentiment across the globe. As the ships drifted apart, and the grand formation of the Armada dissolved into scattered fragments, Earth breathed a collective sigh of relief. The crumbling force had shown that even an empire built on power and precision could not withstand the unforeseen challenges of the cosmos. In that moment, humanity found not only safety in its orbit, but also a renewed belief in its ability to face the unknown. With each failing ship and each disrupted signal, the message was clear. Strength lies not in invincible armies or flawless designs, but in the unity and resilience of those who dare to hope and stand together. And so, as the crumbling force of the enemy faded into the vast emptiness of space, Earth prepared for the next chapter in its unfolding story. A chapter that promised new challenges, but also the promise of a united future, a new beginning. As the last fragments of the crumbling fleet drifted away into the dark vastness of space, Earth began to feel a gentle shift in the air. The danger that had once seemed so overwhelming was now replaced by a quiet hope. In cities, towns, and small villages alike, people looked up at the night sky with relief. They knew that the moment of crisis had passed and that a new chapter was about to begin. In a modest command center filled with busy screens and attentive voices, General Caldwell gathered his team for a final review. "Today, we saw that even the mightiest force has its flaws," he said simply. His steady tone was a reminder that strength is not only found in power, but also in learning and growing from our challenges. Let us take this moment to rebuild, to learn, and to prepare for a future that is brighter than our fears. Dr. Mason, still poring over his notes and data, joined the meeting. He explained how every bit of the enemy's failing signal had taught them more about the unknown force. "This experience has shown us that our defenses are strong, and our unity is our best asset," he said, his words clear and encouraging. His simple language reached everyone in the room, from the senior scientists to the young assistants. Each one felt a spark of determination, an idea that together they could build a future free of fear. Across the globe, communities celebrated in their own quiet ways. In one small town, Mr. Harris, who had once watched the unfolding drama with worried eyes, now smiled as he gathered his family for dinner. He talked about the lessons of the past days, telling his children that every challenge was an opportunity to grow. "The universe has taught us that nothing lasts forever, not even great power," he said, using words that everyone could understand. His family listened with hope, knowing that they were safe and ready to face a new dawn. In another part of the world, Elena, the curious teacher, organized a special class where she spoke of the event. In simple language, she explained how the silent signal had brought both danger and a lesson in unity. "When we face something big and unknown, we must stand together," she told her students. The children's eyes shone with excitement as they imagined a future where everyone worked as one. They learned that the stars above were not just distant lights, but reminders that challenges could bring people closer. On the social media platforms and community boards, messages of renewal and strength spread like a gentle wave. People shared their stories of how they had come together during the crisis and how they had found new ways to support one another. One post read, "In our darkest hours, we found light in our unity. Today, we begin a new chapter together." Such words became a symbol of hope for many, a sign that the future was bright and full of promise. In the halls of government and scientific research centers, plans were drawn for a new era of exploration and defense. Leaders spoke in meetings of the need to harness the lessons of the past. They decided to invest in better technologies, stronger communication networks, and deeper cooperation among nations. The goal was clear: to build a future where Earth could face any challenge, no matter how great, with the knowledge that every end is a beginning. High above, aboard the orbiting space station, astronaut Lena Ortiz recorded a final message. As she gazed down at the blue and green Earth, she said, "We have seen the fall of a mighty force, and in its fall, we have found our strength. Today marks a new beginning, not just for our defenses, but for our hearts and minds. Let us move forward with hope and courage." Her calm voice echoed in the station, a message of unity reaching out to every corner of the planet. The night sky, once a stage for fear and uncertainty, now held a different beauty. The stars shone as bright as ever, but they were now accompanied by the warmth of hope. The people of Earth had learned that even when a great force crumbles, the promise of a new day is always near. The fall of the Armada had given them the chance to look inward, to understand that their true power lay not in the size of their armies, but in their spirit of togetherness. In the days that followed, the memory of the crumbling fleet became a story passed down through families and communities. It was told as a reminder that no matter how strong an enemy may seem, every force has its weakness. More importantly, it was a lesson that every end is a chance to start over, a chance to build a world where unity and hope light the path forward. As Earth embraced this new beginning, every citizen felt that they were part of a greater story, a story where every individual, from the smallest child to the most seasoned leader, had a role to play. In this shared journey, the promise of tomorrow shone as brightly as the stars overhead, and the quiet truth remained: together, humanity could always find a way to rise again.